Flash games were very popular in the late 90s all the way up to the mid 2000s. They were fun little games you could play while you were bored at school or at home or whatever. They were Flash games for basically everything. NASCAR was no exception. But there's one game that's more popular than all the others. One game that real NASCAR drivers have played and enjoy. A game that one person loved so much, it inspired him to make his own version, even after this one was gone. This is the legend of NASTYCAR racing. Before we get into NASTYCAR, we need to talk about its predecessor, 5 Miles to Go. 5 Miles to Go is more of a basic version of NASTYCAR. When you boot up the game, you're shown a Microsoft Paint version of Dale Earnhardt's 3 car. And then, you're at the main menu once you put in your name. Once you select Go Race, you jump right into the action. It's you versus 5 other cars, and you have, well, 5 miles to go. Your goal is to move and draft with the other cars to win the race. Sounds simple, right? Well, it is, but I wouldn't say it's easy. This game will normally start you from 2nd to 5th place, and you have to try your best to manipulate the AI and the draft. The draft works pretty well here, but the AI cars are tanks. If you get stuck, you cannot move. So if you have a car to your left, you can't move to the left. You have a car to your right, you can't move to your right. And if you're stuck in the middle, well, you ain't going anywhere. Bump drafting doesn't work in this game. So if you have a run on a car, don't expect to push them forward. And if they have a run on you, don't expect to get a shot forward either. It's basically just basic drafting. The AI cars are pretty random. At times they seem smart. The leader blocking you or the cars behind you trying to follow your moves so they can draft to the front. But for the most part, they're just random. Sometimes they'll make smart moves, and sometimes they'll just put themselves in the wall and they'll fall back. It doesn't really make any sense, but it's a Flash game. I really didn't expect anything crazy, but they are just random. I think that's the best way I can describe it. They don't really do the same things all the time. And that's what makes this game difficult. With the AI being so random, it feels like you winning is not something that you can be really, really good at. You're just kind of dealt with the cards you're given. You start anywhere from basically 2nd to 5th place, and it's your goal to get to the front. And the way the AI cars react basically determines how well you're going to get to the front. Sure, you can make moves and win the race, but it's awfully difficult when the cars in front of you don't want to do anything. This is really just a basic version of NASTYCAR, and you don't have a lot of time since it's 5 miles to go. So if you have a move that you can make, you better make it really quick, because if you don't, you're not going to have enough time. And sometimes you're just relegated to finishing in the back because the AI cars just want to stay together and not do anything. Overall, this is a really fun game, but there's not a lot of depth here, obviously, because it's a Flash game. You have an in-car cam on your top left that just shows a vibrating in-car cam of a driver. There's a couple gauges. They don't really do anything. There's the meter that shows how many miles you are from the finish, and it goes real quick. And then there's the standings on the top right. You'll see that they're all real drivers with their real schemes, I guess, made very quickly and with not too much depth because it's a, Flash game. But it looks great. This game was made in 2000. The creator's name was Thomas Young. If you go to the README portion of the menu, he leaves a little message saying that this is his first game he's made with drafting, and he's really proud of it. He says he might make a second game in the future, and 5 years later, he did exactly that. This is NASTYCAR Racing. When you open the game, you're given the option to put in your name, choose the length of the race from 5 miles to 100 miles, and you have 2 paint schemes to choose from, an orange and green version of the same scheme. When you click Go Race, you're given a countdown and you are underway. This time, it's you versus 11 other drivers. The graphics have taken a big step up, and now you're racing vertically instead of horizontally. The cars you're racing against are real cars, just like the last time, but these look like really nice PNGs and they look just like the actual cars. The drivers you're going against are Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Dale Jr., Matt Kenseth, Tony Stewart, Dave Blaney, Jeff Gordon, Bobby Labonte, Kyle Petty, Michael Waltrip, and Boris Said. Definitely an interesting cast of drivers here. Also, the schemes he chose for them are really funny. I'm pretty sure the schemes he used were from the 2006 Pepsi 400. Jeff Gordon's in the Superman movie car, Kyle Busch is in the Cheez-It 5 car, Tony Stewart is in an alternate Home Depot scheme, and Kyle Petty is in the 45 Coke Zero car. And Boris Said is in this game, so I'm pretty sure that's what he based this off of. You'd think he'd want to use the iconic schemes, but that adds to the charm to this game. Jeff Gordon being in the Superman car always was super interesting to me, and it just has a lot of charm. When the race starts, you'll notice you have a giant tack on the bottom left with your miles per hour. In addition, it shows your place, how far you are behind the leader, and how much distance is left in the race. With 11 other cars to race with, the gameplay is pretty different than 5 miles to go. Sure, the ultimate goal is to draft to the front, but now it's much easier to work with other cars to get there. That's not to say this game is easy. Oh no. It's just now you have options. You can fall to the back if you get put in a tough spot. If you go into the wall or go into the grass, you can fall backwards because it'll slow your car down. The drafting feature in this game works really well. You'll get big groups of cars that get these massive runs, and sometimes you just can't block them or make the right move. But more importantly, bump drafting works now, and that's how these major runs get made. So your goal is to try to get to the front of the car with a run so you can push them to the front or they can push you to the front. The AI cars, once again, aren't perfect, but they are much better. They love to make crazy moves and sometimes will go into the grass on their own to try to pass you. This time, you can manipulate them a little bit. If you bump into them left or right, you can push them that way, but it just takes a lot of effort. You'll notice right away that there's a little notification bar at the top of the screen that will update during the race. It's your crew chief telling you you need to be in this position to help with the chase or to get more TV time. Another driver asking for help to get to the front. Sometimes they'll want you to put another competitor to the back in a certain position by a certain point in the race. It's really, really cool, and it adds some goals to the race, whether you want to use them or not. At the end of the day, it doesn't affect anything in this game. You can still win and ignore them. The only thing that'll change is the nasty message you get if you didn't get it, and that's really about it. Probably one of the most iconic things about NASTYCAR is sometimes a scantily dressed woman will get a hold of the radio and ask you for your help. Most of the time, it's to push a rival driver to the back of the field, and if you do it, you'll get a reward. Now, whenever I was playing this game as a kid, I would hope and pray that this challenge wouldn't pop up whenever an adult was watching me. Because who knows what they would think or say, and if I would even get to continue playing this game or not. I was always on edge when I'd play this at my uncle's house on their computer. It was just a weird thing to have sexual stuff in this game. But it just adds to the allure and the iconicness of this game in the NASCAR community. Now, you can update the length of the races. 5 miles still goes by quick, so you can even make the races 100 miles long if you want to. While the customability isn't huge in this game, what there is, it's so welcome, especially for a flash game. I've spent hours and hours and hours playing this game. It's addicting. I've done a few 100-mile races in my time, for sure. It's so easy to have that, well, one more race mentality, because this gameplay loop is so damn good. Thomas did an amazing job with the drafting model, especially for a flash game in 2006. For a while, before social media, I thought I might have been the only NASCAR fan playing this game. But with the addition of social media in our lives, I found out that wasn't the case. This game has many adoring fans, and it's kind of a cult classic in the NASCAR community. This game is actually loved by actual NASCAR drivers. Raja Caruth, Brad Perez, and Landon Castles are all drivers that I found that have played this game. Landon even played it on his stream.
There's the push. Come on, go! Get over! Go! 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 Alright, I don't have to go. Push. I mean, that's ultimately what does it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that, right there.
The bumps.
I'm gonna win. If I can clear him, I'm gonna win. Yes! Where's that hype train? Oh, you guys lost.
When Adobe Flash Player was killed off in 2020, that pretty much killed NASTYCAR, along with all the other Flash games. Now, you can still play NASTYCAR and 5 Miles to Go. You just have to find the right websites that can make it work. I'm not here to give links or to tell you where to find them. There are plenty of sites out there, but some are more dangerous than others, and I'm not about to give you all a virus by giving you the wrong link. But with NASTYCAR being killed off, other games have tried to step in and create that same gameplay loop. Draft Master 2 is a mobile game that has been out for a while that takes the old school look of 5 Miles to Go and adds in new features for a new era. You're racing on actual NASCAR tracks, like an oval, instead of going in a straight line. There's damage, it replicates the current NASCAR field with schemes and its names, and it's a great game and I highly recommend it. It's updated, you can use mods and stuff to do all sorts of different things. It's a fantastic mobile game and I highly recommend you check it out. NASTYCAR is a game released on Steam in 2023. It is the self-proclaimed spiritual successor of NASTYCAR. It keeps a top-down view but also has a chase view. You're racing against 43 other cars and it is essentially the 3D version of NASTYCAR. I talked to the creator Brian Blackford about his love for NASTYCAR and how it inspired him to make his own version of the game.
Hey Dylan, thanks for doing this video. My name is Brian. I am developer of a game called NASTYCAR, and it was mainly inspired, I'd say almost 100% inspired by a game called NASTYCAR. Back in the day, it was a Flash game for your browser. I believe I stumbled across it in the late 2000s, maybe early 2010s, I'm not sure exactly, but it became legendary amongst our group of friends. We'd play that thing for hours and just laugh about it because there was really nothing else like it. And you know, since people have taken that concept and made, I know Backstretch Battles is popular. There's a couple other Roblox games I think that maybe are inspired by that concept, but essentially the concept is just taking the mechanic of drafting. Drafting in stock cars is quite powerful. They're big boxy machines that create a big hole in the air, so the car behind ultimately doesn't have to use as much power to go the same speed, and they can use that reserve power to potentially overtake a car that is not does not have a car positioned directly in front of them. So taking that basic mechanic, obviously there's a ton of complexity outside of that, but taking that basic mechanic, removing the turns, removing the need to press the throttle, and then just letting it naturally play out. And I've been working on NASTYCAR, the concept of NASTYCAR, for almost 2 years now, or a year and a half, and I've discovered quite a lot of nice little tricks to make it pretty exciting. So the future is bright if you like racing games, and I can keep building my skill up and maybe even build a team around me one day in the future. But yeah, this is all done on like a part-time basis. I am an employee of the NASCAR Hall of Fame, so this is by no means my full-time job, so please take it easy on me in the reviews. Know that this was made by one person, and it's ultimately gonna be a lot better in the future with feedback from the community, because I am just the biggest fan of NASTYCAR, and I love the work that was done way back in the day, and I love the work that multiple developers continue to put in to, you know, kind of take this concept to the next level. In the meantime, I'll just keep plugging away, and again, thank you, Dylan, for having me on the channel and having me talk a little NASTYCAR. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
DraftyCar on mobile, ironically, came out this week. So I will leave the link to that. I will leave the link to the original DraftyCar and DraftMaster in the description below if you would love to try out any of those games. These developers have put a lot of time and effort into them, and it's obvious that NASTYCAR was the basis for that. Brian himself has tried to get in contact with the creator of NASTYCAR and 5 Miles to Go, Thomas Young, but he hasn't been able to reach him. I hope he understands how much the NASCAR and racing community loves and appreciates his work on both of those games, and the legacy that they are going to live with a bunch of people like me for the rest of their lives.